Before we get started with today's show, I wanted to talk about something that happened this week while we were filming, and that was the 2023 Music NL Awards, an annual awards celebration honoring all the wonderful musicians and industry professionals from here in our province. I wanted to congratulate all of the nominees and winners, but especially those who have previously been guests on NL Now, and those include Nico Paulo, Amy House, Young Tree in the Blooms, Bill Brennan, Mallory Johnson, Darcy Scott, Dwayne Andrews, Rum Ragged, Claire Follett, and Lifetime Achievement Award winners Buddy What's His Name and the other fellas. Those were all the wonderful winners that were previously guests here on NL Now, which we're going to get started right now. Cue the opening theme. Hey there folks, and welcome back to another all-new episode of NL Now here on NTV. I am your host once again on this fine Saturday morning, Mr. Clyde Washington. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and joining us, as well as for all of your support over this past season so far. Today on the show, we have a wonderful lineup of special guests. In the interview chair, I'll be chatting with Zach Snow, the recipient of the 2023 Media Person of the Year Award at Music NL. And on the musical guest soundstage, we'll hear some wonderful performances and talk with, later on, the wonderful Kelsey Arsenault. She's going to do a couple tunes, and we'll chat about her new album called Gallery Walls, and here she is now to perform a track from that release. Here for us now, Kelsey Arsenault.
Show me all the bands I'll never see. Makes me wanna buy a property inside your memory. 'Cause you make it sound so pretty. You pull the lines up off the page. And I'm not the only one's been living in your yesterdays. Your yesterdays. Hello? Well, there's a resonance, it echoes in the aching night. You spoke of the rivers running cool and clear before the levee broke. But I never crossed that riverbank or made it to the deck or to Montreal inside a wall. You just can't recollect. Oh, enthrallment of a decade, of the past and of the times. Keep this in the simple chords. They worked for Dylan and Ron Hines. It's not shattering significance, awakening my mind. Well, I'm just trailing behind while I'm stuck in Eastern time. You in October, and I took you for a drive, and we talked about the places where our souls they might survive. But there's that sudden hesitation, makes me shudder, makes me sigh, makes me wanna stall and keep the faulty memory alive. Oh, enthrallment of a decade, of the past and of the times. Keep this in the simple chords. They worked for Lionel and Ron Hines. It's not Eastern time. Oh, Eastern time. Oh.
Welcome back, folks, to NL Now here on NTV. I'm here now at our interview desk with today's interview guest, Zach Snow. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Clyde. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It's great to have you here. Now, before we go any further, I wanted to congratulate you on your win for the 2023 Music NL Media Person of the Year Award, which you received just a little while ago. Now, I want to ask, how did it feel when they called your name and you realized you'd won the award?
I was absolutely shocked. I mean, this year's class for Media Person of the Year is absolutely stacked. And especially to all the people that weren't nominated either, of course, it's such an honor to be a part of it. And when Mike McDonald read my name at the Industry Awards at the Amera that night, it was just shock, relief, happiness. I'm just honored to, be this year's Media Person of the Year. It was my 4th time being nominated for this award, and I'm glad I got it this time. So it's a pleasure, and still trying to get over the feeling. I'm still on the high right now.
Of course. Now, we know that was the awards ceremony. It was a part of Music NL Week, which is always a super fun time for musicians and industry professionals. So aside from winning the award, of course, what would you say was your favorite part of Music Celebration Week?
Just connecting with all my peers, whether it's musicians or industry professionals, and there's so much great music coming out this year that came out this year and still to come out in 2024. Just seeing there was a Hurricane Music Showcase, of course, run by Matt Dines and David Shears, and the roster that they built. Of course, all the other showcases that were at the Rock House and the Ship. Just connecting with people and getting to experience some of the great music that this province has to offer. I mean, when people think about music of Newfoundland and Labrador, they always go to traditional music or contemporary folk music. But there's so much great rock and pop and country music that really has yet to, be recognized by, the higher up executives at the big labels here across the country and across the globe. So for anyone who wants to find out what we're all about here in Newfoundland and Labrador, come down to Newfoundland and we'll show you what we're all about music-wise.
Yes, of course. Now, one of the things that you do to help showcase all of these wonderful musicians is through a project called Musical Connections.
Indeed.
Why don't you tell us a little about that?
So Musical Connections is a podcast that I have on Apple, Spotify, and RSS feeds. I started that back in November of 2022, and it's modeled around 2 segments. Newfound releases. So, for example, I feature some of the best music that comes out that week, whether it's through rock, pop, country, the genres I just mentioned. And it can go from as much as 2 or 3 releases from new artists to 10 releases from a new artist. And no genre is off limits. It can be any of the genres I just mentioned. It could be genres that are not even covered here in Newfoundland and Labrador through any of the big media companies, of course, like NTV or CBC or stuff like that. Like heavy metal or hip-hop or stuff like that. Getting that opportunity to cover music and make sure no genre is left behind, which is what I like to go by, and we're building the sector one song at a time. It's great to do that. And of course, my interview segment is Next to Connect, just talking with people in the sector, whether it's musicians or industry professionals, talking with them and getting to talk about the new projects, their careers. It's really fun, and the podcast is really the most fun part about my week. Getting to feature them on socials and getting the reaction back from the musicians themselves. It's really one of the main reasons why I enjoy doing what I'm doing for the music sector of this province.
That's great. Now, another place that people can hear your voice is on VOWR, which is such a legendary radio station broadcasted from here in our province. How does it feel to be able to be a part of this? And I believe they're approaching their 100th year on the air.
We are in our 100th year right now. We're going to be celebrating 100 years, July 20th, 2024. We got some big plans for that. It's such an honor to be a part of it, and we're like a lot of our volunteers are really over the age of 50, but getting to learn from them too is such an honor. And to be a part of the history of a station that was started by Reverend Joyce back in 1924, July 20th. It was one of the first radio stations ever in Newfoundland and across the country. It was originally called 8WMC, which stood for 8 Wesley Methodist Church. And in 1932, it changed over to VOWR, and it's been that way ever since. Where you can find me, I host 2 separate Music Unlimited shows, so we can play a variety of music or whatever we want. I also host the Friday Drive, which is a classic hits show from 4 to 7 p.m. on Friday afternoons. And one of the programs I'm really the most proud of right now is Newfound Musical Memories from 7 to 8 p.m. Monday nights, our program that we do at Music NL. So we have our new Music Monday feature where we feature a Music NL member and have their new song on the air. So I'm not hard to find, really, but to be a part of a radio station that's been on the air for 100 years, it really is an honor and a privilege. And I'm super excited for everyone out there watching on NL Now to see what VOWR has got in store for 2024. And Clyde, you got to come down here as well. We'll give you a tour of the station,
Yes,
too.
that would be great. We'd love that. And now, Zach, we're going to do a little thing we like to do with all of our guests on NL Now called Get to Know Me.
All right.
So I'll
let's
ask
go.
you 5 questions, and you'll come back with the first answer that pops into your head.
Let's do it.
Your favorite color?
Oh, boy. Red.
Your favorite food?
Do you have to make me choose my favorite food, Clyde? Oh, my God. It really depends for me. I like pizza, homemade pizza. My mom makes some amazing homemade pizza, but I love a medium steak. So it's between those two for me.
Great. Your favorite thing about living in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Just the scenery. It's just going outside of St. John's. I was in Corner Brook last year for Music Celebration Week 2022. Going out there in the fall is absolutely gorgeous. For any people who haven't been out to Corner Brook yet, go out and check that out. Just the scenery and getting to experience some of the great beauty that Newfoundland and Labrador has to offer.
And what's one of your all-time favorite songs?
Oh my God, that is really, really tough. I can't say. I can't have an answer to that, Clyde, because there's so much great music out there.
There
not
is.
just here in Newfoundland and Labrador, but across the world. I mean, how can you choose?
And finally, your favorite thing about working in the music industry?
Getting to connect with some of your favorite musicians and getting to connect with people as well. Just over the past year through the Musical Connections podcast, I got to meet so many great artists, discover their music, and find out more about them. So it's been an honor, and I'm looking forward to a great year for Musical Connections in 2024.
That's wonderful. Well, Zach, I just wanted to say one more time, thank you again so much for joining us here today.
Clyde, it's been an honor, and
Yes.
and congratulations on everything you're doing.
Thank
with
you
NL
very
now.
much.
And rock on, guys. All the best.
Folks at home, please stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break with some more NL Now here on NTV. Welcome back to NL Now here on NTV. Lionel here, and before we get back to today's show, I just wanted to remind you all to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/NLNow. That's where you'll find all sorts of fun things about what we're up to here in the NL Now studio in between shows on Saturday morning. And now I'm going to throw things back over to Clyde. All right, thank you, Lionel, and I am here now on the NL Now musical guest set. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Claude, for having me.
Yes, of course. Now, the song you performed to start off the show earlier, why don't you tell us a little about that one?
So yeah, that one was called Eastern Time, and I wrote that when I was living in Ontario. I was missing some people at home, and
Yes.
so that's kind of where the song was born from.
Now, not too long ago, I hear you released an album.
I did.
Why don't you tell us about it?
I did. It's called Gallery Walls, like the portraits.
Yes.
And it has 8 of my own original songs that I composed over the last couple of years, and I'm really excited that it's out.
Yes, that's great. And now I'd like to ask you a question. We like to ask a lot of our musical guests on the show, and that's if you could pick any musician, dead or alive, to collaborate with on a song, who would you pick and why?
Ooh, I think that's easy for me, and I really hope to do this someday. Amelia Kern, she is a big musical inspiration for me.
She's wonderful. And now we're going to do something we've been doing with all of our guests this season on the show. It's
Okay.
called Get to Know Me. So I'll ask you
Fun.
5 questions and you'll come back with the first answer that pops into your head.
Okay, I'm ready.
Your favorite food.
My dad's homemade pasta.
Your favorite color.
Green.
Your favorite thing about performing live.
Connecting with audience people.
Your favorite thing about living in Newfoundland and Labrador.
I think the beach, the ocean.
And finally, if you could think of an answer of who you would like to play you in a movie, who would that be?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. My brother has a really good rendition of me, so maybe him.
Well, that is great. Well, thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining us here today.
Thank you so much
and
for having
folks
me.
at home, please stay with us. We'll be right back after the break with another song. Well, folks, we've just about come to the end of today's episode of NL Now. I'd like to thank our very special guests, Zach Snow and Kelsey Arsenault. And
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And Kelsey, I understand that there's someone you'd like to say hello to that's watching the show right now.
Yes, there is. I want to say hi to my little niece, Mila. I love you, Mila.
All right. Well, thank you, Mila, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Please come back here to NTV next Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. Newfoundland time for another all-new episode of NL Now. How about we close out the show now, Kelsey?
I think that's a great idea. Took a walk today, I went out to my favorite place. One last conversation with the edge of the world. I'm going back tonight, 11:35's my flight. The big white wings will carry me away. Oh, they'll carry me away. Well, you had wings too when they were small. I saw you in the grass so tall. A sparrow, have you lost your direction? And I felt it strange, your wings are broke. And here I am about to float into a sky that should be yours. It seems I'm never in the place I wanna be. A little sparrow, I wish you could fly away instead of me. And I trade you the entire sky if you would just agree that you're not coming down. Your heart was never happy on the ground. Oh, little sparrow, take my place up here in the clouds. I thought about you